All right, today we are diving into a story that is pretty incredible. It starts with just one book, but it ends up spurring a massive global back to the land movement. This is the story of the ringing cedars of Russia. So let's just start with this question. Could one conversation, just one, in the middle of the Siberian forest, actually have the power to change the world? It sounds pretty out there, but let's see where this goes. Now, what's really interesting is that our story doesn't start with some spiritual seeker on a quest. It actually begins with a pretty normal business trip. Okay, so picture this. It's 1994. You've got this Siberian entrepreneur, Vladimir, and he's on a trade expedition, just doing business along the remote Ob River. He's a practical guy, right? But as he's traveling, he starts hearing these whispers from the locals about something mysterious. A ringing cedar that supposedly has miraculous powers. So naturally, he's intrigued. And look, he's a businessman, so he's not really thinking about enlightenment. He's probably thinking, hey, maybe there's something valuable here. So he decides to go for it. He puts his expedition on hold and heads straight into the taiga to find it. But what he finds out there is not at all what he was expecting. It wasn't a magical tree. It was a person. Way out there, far from any civilization, in the heart of the Siberian wilderness, he meets a woman. Her name is Anastasia, and she is about to completely change his life. And, as it turns out, the lives of millions of other people too. So who is this Anastasia? Well, according to Megger's account, she is something else entirely. We're talking about someone who lives in total harmony with the forest, needing no house, no warm clothes, not even cultivated food. He describes her as having these incredible, extraordinary abilities, like communicating with wildlife and healing people with just her thoughts. And when he first meets this incredible woman, you might expect some grand mystical speech, but her introduction was so simple, so direct. She just says, I am a woman, I am alive, I stand before you. From there, Anastasia begins to share her wisdom with Migray, and she starts with the very thing that brought him there in the first place, the ringing cedar. Okay, so what exactly is a ringing cedar? The philosophy she shared describes it as a Siberian cedar that once it hits the incredible age of 500 years old, it becomes this living antenna for cosmic energy. It even emits a gentle ringing sound, a sign of its accumulated power. The process she describes is just fascinating. For 5 whole centuries, the tree just grows, soaking up light and energy from the cosmos. Once it's completely saturated with this benevolent power, it begins to ring. And that's the signal that it's ready to share its healing energy with humanity. But here's the thing. Anastasia's message went way beyond just mystical trees. She shared a really practical vision for how humanity could move forward. She presents Migray with what is essentially a blueprint for a new way of life, one designed to heal the planet by having people reconnect with nature, one family at a time. The heart of her vision is a concept she calls the kin's domain. It's a family homestead, about 2.5 acres, where a family can create a totally self-sufficient life. It's meant to be their own personal paradise, a space of love that can nurture that family for generations. Migray only spent 3 days with Anastasia, but it completely transformed him. He felt like he had to share her message with the world, and what happened next is just astounding. He took everything he learned and poured it into a book. And remember, this guy is an entrepreneur, not an author, but he wrote it anyway, and the ideas inside it just exploded. They began to spread like wildfire. The book's impact started showing up in some really unexpected ways. For example, in her teachings, Anastasia spoke about these ancient megalithic structures called dolmens. Now, for years, as you can see here, these sites had been pretty much neglected and even vandalized. But after the book was published, a huge shift occurred. People started seeking out these sites, not as forgotten ruins, but as places of pilgrimage, seeing them with new, reverent eyes. Seriously, the book single-handedly raised public awareness about the spiritual importance of these ancient places. Millions of people have since visited, cleaned them up, and helped preserve these incredible remnants of the past. The success was phenomenal. The series sold over 10 million copies worldwide. But the true impact wasn't even in the book sales, it was in the action people took. Inspired by Anastasia's vision, thousands of families left the cities to create their own kin's domains, forming hundreds of new eco-villages across Russia and beyond. This map just shows you the scale of one aspect of the movement's influence. This dolmen country became a huge focal point for this renewed spiritual interest, proving how a simple story could inspire a tangible cultural shift on the ground. So, what do we make of all this? Is it a beautiful piece of modern folklore, a myth for our times, or is it a genuine roadmap for a more sustainable, connected, and meaningful future? That's the question the story of Anastasia and the Ringing Cedars leaves us with.